What's up, what's up, what's up? It's your boy Domo Domuto. We back with another video today. We're watching Charlotte Shan, What If Goku Found Broly Early? Part 3, Shell Squared, that's what it's called. So I'm going with the Shell. This is going to be the Shell Saga, I guess. And hopefully you got Broly DNA, because that's going to be a tough beat. But anyway, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and there you go.
The androids awaken. Thankfully, everyone is prepared for this, with Goku even remembering to take his heart virus medicine. Although, that preparation still doesn't seem like it's enough. The group was just barely able to hold off the androids, but not completely defeat them. However, if they get a little bit stronger, then they would be able to win. But it seems the androids aren't the only enemies that they'll have to face. Piccolo fused with Kami, and notes a strange presence. Something is very off. We'll be discussing all this and more in part 3 of What If Goku Found Broly Early. Piccolo goes to check out that weird presence, but as he tries to find it, he notices something else. There's 2 weird powers nearby, but he can't really put his finger on what they are. One is very subtle, and one's more pronounced than the others. Of course, these powers show up at the worst time. As he leaves the lookout, the rest of the group decides what to do. Some of them are going to go in the time chamber for a bit, but they don't really need too much time, they think. They almost did overcome the androids, and it might be better to get this done sooner rather than later, which, admittedly, they should have just done in the first place. Stopping the androids before they were a problem, but hindsight is 20/20. So instead of everyone spending a day in the time chamber, they decide maybe they only need a few hours each, rotating in and out. And if it turns out they do need more time, well, that's fine. They'll be able to just go right back in. This way everyone can regroup after some time has passed in there, and if anyone discovers anything interesting, everyone else will be able to hear it. The first ones to go in are Broly and Paragus. Broly would probably benefit the most from this training anyways. And they're not too sure who should go in with, but Paragus decides to do this. Broly does have his trainings with Goku in mind. He knows by now the best ways to train himself. He doesn't necessarily need a strong training partner. And as for Paragus, he's still looking towards Super Saiyan. This will help push him over the edge, and maybe he'll be able to get a control on Broly's anger. But they're wondering exactly how he's going to do that, especially considering his methods beforehand. But he tells everybody, he does know Broly best after all. And he assures them, he'll know a way around this. And he says to himself, he'll become a Super Saiyan, and he'll use that power to defeat not only the androids, but Vegeta too. Meanwhile, Piccolo arrives on the surface, going to a city where it's completely empty, and of course he encounters Cell. And at first this encounter goes very normally, although at some point in the battle, Cell notices something really strange.
What's up?
And Piccolo notes it too. It's that same presence he felt from before, and he asks Cell, does he have any clue of what that is? And Cell is equally confused. No, he senses this. The energy disappears not too long after, but Cell looks very worried for some reason, and Piccolo can't really see why. What, is he scared that another person is going to defeat him somehow? And Cell says it's not that, no. That energy that he felt, it feels so similar. And Piccolo asks what he knows. But once that other key signature disappears and he's back to sensing Cell, he comes to a pretty terrifying conclusion. Both of the key signatures feel very familiar. That other one that he was sensing, it felt kind of like Cell here. Different, but very similar still. He grabs Cell, asking him what he knows. And Cell says he's truly dumbfounded. It can't be him. If that's actually him that they're sensing, that makes no sense at all. I mean, he shouldn't have awoken for another few years. Even longer, actually. There's no way he's woken in this timeline too. He's already explained to Piccolo that he's not actually from this timeline either. And Cell wonders, is this another android that he could probably absorb? Or maybe it's another version of himself that's awoken early somehow. One option could probably be very good for him. The other one, not so much. But what he does know is that he can't stick around here with Piccolo. He tries to create a distraction, using a solar flare to escape. He'll get the other 2 androids first. If that is another version of him that's running around somewhere, then as long as he becomes perfect first, he'll be fine. But still, what is that? Is it him from another timeline? Or is it another version of Cell that's not like him at all? Not long after Cell disappears, some of the others from the lookout come down to where Piccolo is. Mainly because Vegeta wanted to see what was going on, and Trunks followed him too. Vegeta's pretty pissed off that he didn't get to go in the room Spirit in time first, but whatever. This might actually be good. He'll get to see how Broly grows, and be able to adapt to that. He'll have the upper hand anyways. A few hours pass. Piccolo continues looking for the other androids. Even if he can't defeat Cell right now, he could probably defeat 17 and 18. Probably 16 too. He's not entirely sure though, he can't really sense their ki after all. As he looks for them, Broly and Paragus eventually exit the time chamber. And Paragus reveals this was just what they needed. Both of them have achieved Super Saiyan. And Paragus shows off. It's not incredibly strong compared to the other Super Saiyans, but still, another Super Saiyan? That might be helpful here. But Paragus is still pissed off because he knows everyone's underestimating him. They're more interested in seeing that Broly has Super Saiyan. And he does, and he has some control over it. Thanks to him already having controlled Wrathful before, he's able to actually kind of somewhat control Super Saiyan. but there are points where he might end up going berserk, so Paragus decided it probably wasn't best to push Broly too far in the time chamber, especially because if Broly went berserk while in Super Saiyan, there would be no one there to bail him out, and Paragus would be dead, and Broly would be trapped in
Yeah,
the
but
problem.
you've been cooked.
Not good. Goku was actually right, as much as Paragus hates to admit it. Paragus used his own knowledge of Broly, as well as any methods that he learned from Goku, and used that to train Broly to get Super Saiyan. Broly's insane growth allowed him to gain a new power without too much time in there. And now Vegeta and Trunks can head in, with Vegeta now knowing what level he has to surpass. If Broly's a Super Saiyan, well, Vegeta will just go beyond Super Saiyan. Broly and Paragus join Piccolo, as Goku and Gohan stand on the lookout training a little bit. A few hours pass. Vegeta and Trunks are about to exit too. At some point, Piccolo is able to find the androids, and this won't be too bad. With Broly and Paragus on his side, mainly Broly, they'll be able to defeat the androids very easily. First, they can kill 16, 17, and 18, and then Cell. The androids are amused to see these three again, telling them they're a little cocky trying to fight on their own. Last time they had a whole group and they couldn't even win. What makes them think they're going to win this time? Well, Piccolo powers up, immediately attacking
Sorry, guys,
17,
I'm gonna text
with
somebody
17
for you.
realizing the difference in power. Paragus then transforms into Super Saiyan, rushing in towards 18, while Broly then goes to fight 16. And he doesn't even transform, not into Wrathful either. He's just using his base power. At least for now. The androids are dumbfounded. How did they get this strong this quickly? There was such a gap in power before, this makes no sense. This fight goes pretty quickly. Especially with everyone here, they decide to all team up on one android first, which means they aim for 17, and they have the androids cornered. Broly tries to hold off 16 and 18
Piccolo.
together, while also assisting Paragus and Piccolo as they try and fight 17, and they're about to land a finishing blow on him. But as Broly's holding off the other two androids, someone then punches him.
Shit.
Not doing too much damage, but Broly immediately gets back up, powering into Wrathful. Super Saiyan might be a little risky, but he could use this at least. He rushes back in immediately and starts fighting Cell, and Broly notes something strange. Cell's power. Does he have his ki within him? That makes no sense. How did Cell get his energy if
it's
he's
a
from another
different Cell.
timeline? He holds off Cell, and Piccolo and Paragus have to divert their attention, going to fight Cell as well. They can't let him absorb any of the androids. But amidst the fight, they feel another power surge nearby. Looking over, they see 17's disappeared, and Cell is standing there. Wait, what? They're fighting Cell, though. And then they realize. It's like Piccolo and Cell theorized before. There's two Cells here. But then, who is this other one? And why does he have Broly's power, too? One Cell is able to absorb Android 17, and one is able to absorb Android 18. Oh, crap. As the two Cells power up,
Boy,
they stare each other
fuck
down.
no.
Each sense the other one, knowing that they'd have to compete over the androids here. The Cell that absorbed Android 17 was the one that fought Piccolo, the one from the future. And he asks who the other Cell is. He says he didn't time travel here at all. No, he actually just awakened very recently. He tells the group, they probably should have checked on Jiro's lab. Future Cell's confused. How did he awaken so early? And Present Cell tells him, well, he's had a few different developments, thanks to the difference in timelines here. Jiro wanted to be extra prepared, so he wanted to make sure that Cell would awaken a lot sooner. Not to mention, he has a lot more data too, and that's why they sense Broly's
shit.
power within him. He has Broly's DNA as well. He awakened a little bit earlier than the other androids, and he's mainly just been going around absorbing small animals and people to get power. And with DNA like Broly's, he's a lot stronger than the other Cell, even though they're both just in their semi-perfect form. Future Cell tries to fight Present Cell, and immediately it's clear that there's a gap in power. He can't believe it. There's no way there's another Cell that's stronger than him. He's supposed to be the perfect android. There can't be two perfect androids. Piccolo, Broly, and Paragus stand back, with 16 joining them too, angered that he couldn't protect the other two androids. He looks over at them. They're not going to like this idea, but maybe if they team up, combining all their powers, they could at least try and defeat one Cell. And this might be a blessing in disguise. This means neither of the Cells could transform into their perfect state, because each of them is missing an android. But
damn.
Piccolo questions this. He's an android too. Can't one of the Cells just absorb him? But 16's purely mechanical. He says they don't need to worry about that. And he will assist them in this. Even though his main objective is Goku, Cell is getting in the way of that objective. So he'll need to deal with that. Both Cells actually. Present Cell tells Future Cell he's superior. He has Broly's power. He awakened earlier for a reason. And you know, even though he's missing one android, well, if he absorbs Future Cell, he'll probably still transform into his perfect state. And he'll get some extra power from Future Cell as well.
Oh,
It'll be a
hell
win-win.
no.
The rest of the group over there then jumps in, fighting
let that
Future
happen.
Cell. They're going to aim for him first, because maybe they can work with Future Cell. If they team up against the stronger Cell first, that might be better. If they team up against the weaker one, well, that would make no difference. That would mean Present Cell would just end up winning, absorbing the other Cell. This way, they at least have a better chance of killing one of the Cells. Of course, Future Cell doesn't really like this idea. But 16 tells him, this is the only way he's going to survive. Just work with them for now. Cell can't believe this. He has to lower himself
That
to
makes
this.
sense.
And it's not like he really has a choice. He wanted to fight the other Cell alone, but he definitely can't win. And if he tries to kill them, he's going to leave an opening for the other Cell to absorb him. Whatever, he swallows his pride and joins in on the battle. Broly even powers up into Super Saiyan, showing it off much to everyone's surprise.
Oh, shit.
And he's maintaining some control over it, but still, he has to hold back a little bit of his power because if he uses too much, he might go berserk. And Present Cell tries to coax him into using more of it. This is interesting. None of his data with Broly showed that he had Super Saiyan. Maybe he awakened a bit too early, but hey, he does have Broly's DNA after all, so he'll grow just as fast as he can. Paragus looks over to Broly. He should try and use his full power here. But Broly's concerned. If he does that, he doesn't know what's going to happen. It might help against Cell, but it could end up killing everyone else too. But Paragus tells him, if that Cell has Broly's power, he's going to be growing incredibly quick. It's now or never. If they don't stop him at this moment, who knows how strong he'll grow, and they'll never have another opportunity to defeat him. He tells Broly, he's learned to control his anger before. Maybe he could do that, and worst case, they'll figure out a way to stop him. But for now, he just needs to use that power. That way they could turn the tides of this fight. Broly's still hesitant, and he was kind of looking forward to using Super Saiyan normally in this battle, but it seems there's no choice. He powers up even more. A greenish aura surrounds him. His eyes go blank, and his hair, it turns from a golden color to a greenish color.
Come on, Broly.
Piccolo, 16, and Future Cell stand back,
Come on, Broly.
amazed at this power. With Present Cell taunting Broly, he can't wait against to fight someone that's his equal like that. But something's wrong. Broly's powering up far beyond where he ever expected. He didn't even know Broly had Super Saiyan here just yet. But this isn't even Super Saiyan that he's using right now. It's a new version of Super Saiyan, his own version of it. Broly's become completely berserk, but at the same time, he's grown significantly, both in terms of power and in actual size. This is Broly's full power version of Super Saiyan, completely uncontrolled and unrestrained. Thankfully, with him even being blinded by his rage, he's still able to tell that Cell's his main target. And Cell continues growing significantly during the battle, and even with some of the damage he's taking from Broly, he regenerates from it, even growing stronger from that too. But unlike the other androids, he can be worn out. Future Cell tells everyone, he doesn't have infinite energy like the other androids. His regeneration's only going to go so far, and as much as he hates to reveal it, he tells them, as long as they can destroy Cell's core, that will allow them to win here. He realizes he's giving his own weakness up this way too, but he'll figure out something about it later. And now, Present Cell's actually being pushed back significantly. Not only is he facing Broly's full power, but still he's also fighting Paragus, Piccolo, Future Cell, and 16. Their combined power is overwhelming Present Cell, and they know his weakness too. Broly charges in, using all of his power to launch towards Present Cell, charging a mouth beam and launching it point blank. The force of it is so strong that it pushes Broly back, and Paragus tells everyone, this is their call. Now's the time to use their power too and assist Broly. Together, everyone launches a full power blast, combining with Broly's and destroying Present Cell. Broly then stands there victorious, screaming, but he looks around at everyone else, immediately launching in towards them, attacking the others next. Piccolo's concerned.
Oh, shit.
What the hell are they supposed to do now? But luckily for them, Broly's first target is Future Cell. Immediately, Future Cell launches away, flying out into space. He's got to retreat here. There's no way he'll win against them like this. But he realizes as he flies out into space, Broly's still following him. Broly flies out of the atmosphere, with Piccolo and Paragus chasing after him. He's gonna die if he goes out there, but this ends up actually working. Broly makes it out into space, briefly, and he starts to feel lightheaded. With a lack of oxygen, he feels a lot weaker, and then he fades into unconsciousness, falling back down to Earth, with Cell watching on. Oh, he didn't even really intend to do that. He flies back down to Earth, as Piccolo and Paragus catch Broly and land on the surface where 16 is. Cell then lands nearby, and he tells them, in all honesty, he kinda had fun with that battle. He's annoyed that he couldn't get his perfect form, but he feels like he can get it eventually. And because of that, he's not gonna kill them here and now. With Broly now unconscious, Cell could probably easily win here. Consider this a favor, for them helping him against the other Cell. And amidst their talk, Vegeta and Trunks eventually arrive, having now just left the Room of Spirit and Time, switching out with Goku and
shit.
Goku, with both in Super Saiyan. They're confused seeing Cell and the fact that two of the androids are missing, and they don't even have time to get a word in. Cell simply smirks, jumping back up into the air, rocketing out in space too fast for anyone to even counter him. Cell thinks to himself, it would be more fun to not kill them after all. This group would be a great way to test his strength in the future. Not to mention, amidst his fight with the other Cell, he was able to actually stab Present Cell at one point, stealing a very minute amount of his energy, which means he has some of that DNA too. Maybe he could utilize Broly's great potential for himself now, although he's not too sure how much data he actually got from the other Cell by absorbing his DNA. Time will tell though. He'll remain in space for the time being, training and growing stronger. After all, if he stays there, they'll definitely find a way to kill him. They know his weakness too, so maybe he should try and work around that as well. Vegeta and Trunks look on dumbfounded, asking what the hell happened here, and Piccolo simply responds, he doesn't know either. Paragus powers down, lifting up Broly, and they all look over at 16. He is a bit broken up from that battle after all, and thankfully he's not attacking them or anything right now. Vegeta lifts a hand up, ready to kill 16, but Piccolo actually stops him. Vegeta asks what he's doing, and Trunks does too. But Piccolo has a better idea. He decides to make a bargain with 16. He can get 16 in the repairs that he needs, if he's willing to be reprogrammed. Naturally, 16 turns this down, but also knows that if he doesn't do this, he's good as dead. So reluctantly, he ends up agreeing to it.
Yeah.
Seeing at
He had
this
no
rate,
choice,
with
man.
how powerful everyone else is here, and not knowing what Goku's up to, he probably won't be able to defeat Goku anyways. So with a very different and odd Cell saga, and Android saga for that matter,
Yeah, that was
this is
weird.
where we'll leave off for now. Thanks to a very strange team-up, they were able to kill that Cell. But the other Cell, he escaped, wanting to grow stronger and find another way to
Fuck it,
achieve
part
perfection,
4.
possibly coming back to fight them again. He knows if he were to fight them here, he would definitely lose. But where do we go from here? Well, we'll be covering all that and more in part 4 of What If Goku Found Broly Early. Android 16 is reprogrammed, just like Piccolo wanted to do. And Bulma's confused. She asks why Piccolo even spared him. Well, Piccolo mentions that he did seem pretty strong, and he did help them out after all. His only target seemed to be Goku, but otherwise, he thought maybe Bulma could just remove that. He'd be a valuable addition to their crew. Imagine having one of the androids but good. There was no purpose in just killing him, especially considering he wasn't really causing problems like the other androids. But he does wonder about them though. One did die with Present Cell and one is with Future Cell right now. But Piccolo's also a little bit concerned about Cell. If Present Cell grew that strong, he hopes Future Cell can't get to that level. He knows that at least Present Cell's strength is mostly attributed to having Broly's DNA. But who's to say Future Cell can't obtain that too? Maybe he already has and they don't even know it. And he's still strong regardless, with Broly's DNA or not. Vegeta interjects. He says they need to locate that bastard before he does anything else. Paragus says it's impossible though. He fought Cell firsthand. He's cunning. He's probably far gone by now and is going to lay low in whatever way possible.
Right.
And Vegeta and Paragus begin arguing again. Vegeta says they could just take a spaceship, go seek him out. What's so hard about that? He'd rather settle this now while they can, before Cell gets too strong somehow. And Paragus says Vegeta would be stupid to do so, but be his guest. He'll just die unless Broly tags along. Broly doesn't necessarily like the idea. They don't even know where to look. Plus, he's worried about going berserk. But Vegeta mentions he's much stronger than they think, although he doesn't really have a great gauge of Cell's strength. And deep down, he kinda knows Paragus is right. Maybe he should have spent more time in that time chamber. That could really help them here. Goku and Gohan decide to take the full day. They exit, having mastered Super Saiyan, and they see that everything's actually fine on the outside. Oh, then was that for nothing? Well, not really. They got some great training in. It's just that they don't have to use it against Cell, so it's kind of good, at least.
Right.
So they go to Capsule Corp, still in Super Saiyan, and then realizing, hey, you know what? We should probably power down now. Looks like they have nothing to use this power for at the moment, at least until Cell returns. Trunks is concerned though, hoping that the Cell in his timeline isn't too powerful, but Bulma says it shouldn't be a problem. Trunks mentioned that there was no Broly in the future, at least not that he knows of, so he never came to Earth and Cell wouldn't have his DNA. At worst, if there is a Cell, he's gonna be like the one from the future, or the other future. All this timeline stuff's getting confusing for them. He still thinks he should prepare though. They were a bit hasty with the Room of Spirit and Time, so he's gonna go back in, with Vegeta too. They'll use the remaining time to master Super Saiyan. They have a lot of extra time to spare,
Okay.
actually. And thankfully, they don't have the threat of Cell on the outside anymore, so there's no worry of them being in there and Cell doing something bad. The concern before was the androids. But now they could be in there a little bit more carefree. And while they go in, Goku wants to test Broly's power. Now that he's using Super Saiyan as his full power, he wonders how useful this form is, especially against someone like Broly. And he does want to see how much Broly has grown. Broly tells Goku he wouldn't mind that, but he tells Goku he doesn't really have full control of Super Saiyan, especially if pushed to his full power, then he goes completely berserk. But with just normal Super Saiyan and kind of restraining himself, he can contain it, and he shows it off to Goku by transforming. Goku's amazed by this power. It's just like he saw before anyways. He even sensed it when Broly was fighting Cell. Maybe if he had this version of Super Saiyan with him when Cell arrived, he would have been able to help there. But unfortunately, he couldn't really get involved. But now, with this strength, he's much better than before. And Gohan too. He has the same exact power. The two of them fight Broly together, with Paragus watching on. He's intrigued by their strength, especially that hybrid kid. And Piccolo watches from the sidelines too. He's a bit concerned about Broly and tells Paragus about this. He's witnessed his strength beforehand and how he lost control. It's like when he trained Gohan before. Maybe he could fix it. And this catches Paragus by surprise. What, Piccolo thinks he could help with that? If he and Goku could do nothing, he doesn't really think that Piccolo can. No offense. But Piccolo reminds Paragus. He saw his
Shut
power
your bitch
against the
ass up,
androids,
nigga. That's
against
Piccolo,
Cell.
nigga.
Piccolo has the strength to back it up, and he has the wisdom to back it up too. All the wisdom of himself and of Kami. And that reminds him, oh yeah, they actually need to find a new Kami. The fight between Broly, Goku, and Gohan ends, with Broly of course winning. Although it's partially because Goku and Gohan didn't really want to push Broly over the edge on accident. They just wanted a gauge of his current power. Vegeta exits the Room of Spirit and Time not too long after with Trunks. Both of them have mastered Super Saiyan, and Vegeta declares he's finally surpassed Kakarot, and next is Broly. He's very prideful about it, and Trunks is happy about it too. Not shoving it in everyone's face, but he's glad. This will definitely help against the androids. and it seems everything's wrapping up pretty nicely. Trunks decides it's now time to head home, thanking everyone for everything. And he also asks, where did they find Broly again? It was some planetoid called Vampa, and that makes Trunks wonder if he could ever find Broly somewhere. Well, first they need to kill the androids in Cell, and then Trunks can think about space travel. Maybe he could even go to Namek, who knows? It's going to be hard to find both of those planets though, if he even decides to look. Trunks heads home, and Piccolo mentions the next order of business should be them going out into space. Earth probably does need a new Guardian, especially if they want the Dragon Balls back. And Goku says they could just go back to Namek. It would be great if they had a way to teleport there or something, but whatever, that's not possible. Although it's going to be a bit tough to find new Namek. Thankfully, with some help from King Kai, they are able to locate it. It takes some time because they need a new, more powerful spaceship. But eventually they have a second trip to Namek, hoping that this time they don't encounter any space emperors or whatever. They also have a bigger crew than before with more power, so at least they can kind of hedge against it. When they arrive back on Namek, the Namekians are really glad to see Goku's okay after he escaped. When Porunga tried to bring him back to Earth, they know that Goku ended up somewhere strange, and they're glad he made it back to Earth safely. They're not too fond of Vegeta being there, but at least he seems to have calmed down a bit. And they're surrounded by all these other people, so if Vegeta did try something, they're not too concerned. Mori's also glad to see Piccolo, noting a strange presence within him. He can sense Nail in there, obviously, but also, has he merged with someone else? Well, his former self, actually. Not really your standard Namekian fusion here. He's essentially the nameless Namekian he once was. And Mori's fascinated, wondering how great Piccolo's potential is. Now with the power of Nail and Kami within him, he's far stronger than before, of course. But he also notes, that potential could be just as interesting as his raw strength at the moment. And Piccolo finds it interesting that Mori would mention that. As the rest of the group talks to the other Namekians, and also Dende, Piccolo asks. He knows about Grand Elder Guru being able to unlock people's potential, and he wonders if that could be done on himself or even someone else in the group. And Mori says yeah, he's the new Grand Elder after all. He could do that for everyone here actually. Well, not really everyone here. Piccolo knows that doing it for Broly would probably be a little bit too dangerous on second thought. And also, if he tried it on anyone else, he'd be worried about Vegeta asking for it too. Vegeta's already the strongest here besides Broly, and he still is a concern even though he's kinda calmed down a bit. He's not sure about Gohan, but he wonders if Goku would even accept that, having power handed to him that way. Either way though, if they were to unlock somebody's potential, Piccolo thinks it could work as a deterrent for Vegeta and for Broly's rage. Mori says he'll unlock Piccolo's potential, and they'll just keep it their little secret. But he does tell Piccolo. He hasn't really tested this out yet, but he decides, hey, this is a perfect time to do it anyways. Mori puts his hand on Piccolo's head, trying to draw out Piccolo's power. He closes his eyes, and then he gasps. This catches Piccolo off guard, wondering what's wrong, but just as he does so, a huge pillar of orange ki surrounds Piccolo, with his power exploding. Everyone else senses this too. Piccolo and Mori have moved away from them, but they can see in the distance. It's almost like a plume of lava coming out of the planet, but it's not lava, it's ki. Vegeta's stunned. What is this power? Mori's hand remains on Piccolo's head. He kinda wants to draw it back, but at the same time, he doesn't feel like he can. This power within Piccolo, what the hell is this? Piccolo has a fierce ki around him. He can't contain the power. And he's actually a bit mortified by it.
He somehow was able to throw in Orange Piccolo, okay.
Desperately he tries to, and he is barely
I like
able.
it, Charlotte.
And he asks Mori what the hell happened there. And Mori says his potential, it's far higher than he could have ever expected. He nervously laughs though, joking that it should be enough of a deterrent for Piccolo. And Piccolo has no idea what to think for this. The rest of the group flies over, wondering what just happened. That was Piccolo's power, wasn't it? And Vegeta wants to know what the hell that was. But again, they kinda have to keep this a secret from Vegeta, because he'll either try to force Mori to unlock his potential, or if he doesn't get his way, he'll probably just kill everyone here. Piccolo thinks it's a little bit unlikely, but still, the potential's there for that. So he comes up with a lie on the spot. He says he must have gotten some extra strength from Kami, and Mori showed him how to use it, or something. It's not really too much of a lie, because that is kinda what happened, but it's more of an omission of the truth. And Vegeta can't believe it. He challenges Piccolo to a fight, but Piccolo says this isn't the time, or the place. Piccolo thanks Mori covertly, with Mori nervously saying that was a little bit too close. But it's good to know that he has this ability. At least for now, they can't use it on anyone else. But maybe sometime down the road. Everyone heads back to Earth, with Dende volunteering to be the new Guardian of Earth. Oh, and before they leave, they warn the Namekians of Cell. And the Namekians say they'll be fine. They doubt Cell's gonna know the location of their planet. I mean, look how long it took them to find it. Right. And they had help from some sort of god or whatever. This trip was way more peaceful than the last one. And once they arrive back on Earth, Dende makes a new set of Dragon Balls, actually stronger than the previous set. He's glad to be here, and glad to be the next Guardian of Earth.
Okay, Dende.
He promises he'll try and do his best. And when they arrive back, Piccolo decides to talk with Broly. He asks to train with Broly. And Broly actually turns it down. He's worried. He lost control when using his full power before. And even when he trained with Goku and Gohan, they had to hold back because they were worried about pushing him over the edge. He's still very nervous about all this. And it's not that he thinks that Piccolo can't help him. It's that he's worried that he'll accidentally kill Piccolo in the process. But Piccolo tells Broly that's one of the first things they need to overcome, that fear of his power. and he also tells Broly not to worry. He sensed Piccolo's power back in Namek, didn't he? He tells Broly the whole point of this training is that he wants to control Broly's power, make him more confident in using it, and make him control his anger more. But Broly's still reluctant. It hasn't worked yet. Goku is powerful and knowledgeable, but isn't on Broly's level. Before Broly went Super Saiyan, Goku was able to help, but now he's not able to. Vegeta's a little bit stronger than Goku, but his training methods definitely wouldn't work. Gohan also is probably stronger than Goku, but he has his own issues controlling his own power. And of course he's way less knowledgeable and experienced than Goku. Goku also seems to be preoccupied with getting Gohan to unleash his power too, with the two of them continuing to train together, thankfully because Goku actually survived the Cell Saga here.
Right.
And he also mentions, his father did try to control his power, but that hasn't really been doing any favors for Broly. Otherwise, they would have figured out how to control it in the Room of Spirit in time. Broly warns Piccolo again, but Piccolo tells him he's sure it's fine. He has his own power to test as well. And besides, now they have a new set of Dragon Balls. If, in some really weird set of circumstances where Piccolo actually dies against Broly, hey, worst case, they could just bring him back with a new set of Dragon Balls. Before, that wouldn't have been a possibility because if Piccolo died, the Dragon Balls would be gone.
Right.
Here, they could just bring him back. But Piccolo still highly doubts that that'll even happen. Well, he reluctantly accepts, and the two of them begin their training together. A few more months pass. Vegeta continues his own training, glad to still be ahead of Goku, but knowing that Goku and Gohan are going to catch up soon. Maybe he'll have to train with them actually. But for now, he could be on his own. Meanwhile, Goku and Gohan are still training as well. Goku saw a brief glimpse of Gohan's power in the Room of Spirit in time, and he wants Gohan to tap into that and fully control it. And it shouldn't be too tough. He kind of accomplished that with Broly, and with Gohan, he's not concerned about Gohan going berserk. He just needs Gohan to unleash that power and then grasp it. It shouldn't be too tough, and he's confident that Gohan can do it. Also, Goku's expecting another kid soon, so that could be fun. Telling Gohan if he fully learns to control that power, he'll be setting a great example as an older brother. And Gohan's pretty motivated by this. Having Goku around to push his training further, having all this peacetime so he could actually study in between, and being excited to have a brother on the way, it's all pretty great. 16's reprogramming and rebuilding is finished as well. He actually becomes basically a bodyguard for Capsule Corp. But Vegeta decides he has a better use for 16. He wants to train with 16. He knows that Bulma actually did upgrade him a bit too, and his strength before was pretty intense. Also, 16's very different from the other fighters. Being an android and all too, he's probably a lot smarter. Considering he's purely mechanical, he could probably help Vegeta here, and Vegeta thinks that maybe using 16 as a training partner would be very useful. Plus, with both of them being in Capsule Corp all the time, it's pretty convenient as well. And of course, Broly's training with Piccolo is going pretty well too. They're trying to work from the ground up first, even going back to Broly's wrathful form. This form still is pretty powerful, but Piccolo notices Broly never actually had a full control in it. He did have control and was able to use it pretty effortlessly.
Right.
But he sees that one of Broly's biggest flaws here is that he moved on from this form too quickly. He probably needs to work from here up. And it's not too tough. Broly is able to control this form a little bit better at first. And this form of his, it's a lot of where his raw anger and power come from. Piccolo could see that it definitely influences his other forms. No wonder his version of Super Saiyan is different from the other Super Saiyans here. So they start working from the ground up, training with this first, and then eventually moving on to normal Super Saiyan. But even with all this time in practice, and with Broly getting to know Piccolo better, he's still too concerned about losing control. He powers up into Super Saiyan and asks Piccolo one more time, is he actually sure that he wants him to try this out? And Piccolo says he's been waiting to test this power out. He has a safeguard against it just in case. And Broly stands back as Piccolo begins powering up, surrounded by that same orange glow that they saw in Namek. It's a blinding, flaming aura, and his power increases dramatically. As the Pillar of Ki clears, Broly looks on in awe as he sees Piccolo. Piccolo slowly walks up to Broly, confused. Why is Broly looking at him like that? He knows his power's a lot different, but it's not that confusing. And Broly's just amazed. He says he didn't know that Piccolo could transform. Transform? Piccolo has no idea what that means. He's just unleashing that power that he had before. He's never been able to transform, besides a grown giant or something. But Broly says he's definitely transformed.
Definitely transformed, Piccolo.
Piccolo then looks down at his hands and arms, and he does look different. He's orange now.
Big orange.
Is this the power that Mori unleashed? Something extra beyond what he thought he got? He looks at Broly pretty confused at first, but then smiles. Even better than he thought. And he tells Broly, get ready for a full-powered battle. And this is where we'll leave off for now.
Okay, Charlotte, you in your bag, Charlotte. You in your bag, bruh. You in your bag. Okay. I like the story right here. I like the story. I want to see where it goes. I want to see where Shell went. And anyway, yeah, I want to see how everybody, gets stronger and see how that goes. So anyway, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Shout out to Charlotte Saiyan. Check out the last chapter right here. And check out another video right here. You know what I'm saying? I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.